Welcome to the Motors podcast, the parkour focused podcast where we sometimes talk about parkour and we sometimes talk about other things. And every so often, one of us, most likely me, says something that offends someone and then they message me and get angry in Instagram DMs. And this is probably going to be one of those Instagram episodes. Instagram episodes? Jesus.
What do you mean by that?
We'll go on to that.
Okay.
It'll be, the title will...
I thought you were more referring to like Josh Malone and comparing yourself to when people get angry with you.
Jesus, you're just dropping names already. Who knows we're going to talk about that stuff? Firstly, we have egg on our face, if that's the correct saying.
What?
We've got egg on our face.
I don't know what that means.
About 2 podcasts ago, which ultimately... admittedly was about 3 years ago.
When we said it's going to start back up again? Is that what you're saying?
Well, that's another thing. Yeah. No,
even Robin, is it Robin the coach thing?
Oh, you've literally just reminded me. He asked me to do something for his birthday and I just fucking never did it.
He said to me when I put that on my story saying like, the podcast can be back up and running. He's like, you'll say that for a couple episodes and then you'll drop off again. I was like, yeah probably.
Yeah. Basically, there'll never be an episode.
I'm so sorry.
There'll never be an episode after this, even though we've already actually recorded one. Yeah. No, we have egg on our face because about 2 episodes ago, we said, either you or me, we're like, I don't think anyone will ever confront Imax for maybe years. It might never happen again. Yeah. And then Max Webb went and did it.
Yeah, that's ridiculous. Why is it called egg on your face?
I don't know if that's the actual term. I don't know.
We've got egg on our face.
I think it's like...
Yeah, no, well, I don't care. I like that.
I did a silly.
Yeah. But sure, I don't think anyone could have predicted that.
Well,
like anyone else doing it for a while.
Did you see on his story? He's been prepping it for a while.
Yeah.
He built a setup.
I'm glad that he showed that because I'm not going to lie, I did think a bit. I don't know Max really well. Yeah. So I did think, it could be a bit of a sendy one.
Yeah, I think that was, he said on the story, like, to all those who thought I sent it. And he obviously prepped it where Dom prepped it there. But obviously it didn't go as clean as I'm sure he would have hoped. Yeah. And I think he already said he wants to go back for it.
But then thinking about it as well, there's a lot of athletes that are fucking ridiculous at Kong Prix and really competent at them. And then when they do that Kong Prix, they've overshot.
It's such a heady one, yeah.
Yeah, so it's bound to happen. But very fucking well done.
But well done.
Getting your brain to the mental level of doing that.
I can't even...
I don't know what's comparable in like mental, not physical, but like mental level,
It's just the fact that you have to go, like with a front, compared to a side.
Oh yeah, you can't.
The level of blindness is significantly more. And it's just like, you're so blind for a significant period of time over like a mat, like a death drop.
Yeah.
Flight is, the physics of it is mental.
Interesting that it was filmed on a camera, was it not? Only thinking because I wonder whether it was meant to be for like something else, like a bigger thing.
I don't know. I mean, there's a couple angles, aren't there?
Yeah, there is, but it's just I wonder whether that... Oh, maybe it was just the angle that chose. But anyway, yeah.
I don't know, man. This is the first podcast in a while, isn't it? Apart from the one yesterday. That was the air freshener.
We should name the air freshener because it has
it just sounds like fucking R2-D2 like chirping up in the background.
He has as much consciousness as Dennis, so I don't know why we haven't named it.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, it has been. It has been a long time. I can't remember what we spoke about last time.
Well, the thing I have here is that the last one we did was pre. Well, for me, it's a big deal for me, pre-baby.
Oh, pre-baby.
I'm a dad. Wait,
now. Was it?
Yeah. So, it was the one where I got all gassed up and was like, everyone should follow around Dom and take photos of him doing Kong Fronts.
Yeah, I do.
It
remember
was that one, and then a week later, we had the baby.
Yeah. So I mean, we've spoken about baby a lot, but for anyone who's my age who don't know the actual realistic side of it, can you give one sentence that like kind of explains it without
which bit
being negative?
Which bit? We're talking
the whole thing.
But I mean, like
birth or no? I mean having a baby. Like when you've got it. Now being a father, that's a good one.
See, that's the thing that feels weird. Is like people are like, oh, you're a dad, you're a father. Yeah.
You came in today saying like, I feel like I don't know what you said. Something about feeling like a dad
I'm
with what you're wearing.
I'm dressed like a dad because I'm not.
Well, it doesn't matter how you dress now because you will always dress like
a dad. A dad. Yeah, the father identity doesn't feel like it's sunk in.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't. I'm sure if like, I don't know, somebody saw me holding her in a shop or something, I might look like, oh, that's a guy with his kid. But at the moment it feels like like she feels like she's mine, like mine and Sarah's, but it doesn't feel like I'm like a dad. Because I think my dad is like, I think of a dad as my dad. Childbirth, insane. Go and just any woman who goes through that, just give them love and affection and respect, because it's the most unbelievable. Like that is like the thing that, I mean, I cried, like was just proper emotionally just fucked.
Yeah.
Like you think you can prepare yourself and then no, because it's just and also you set out plans. Like some people get really like uppity about it. They're like, I've got my birth plan, I'm doing this, I'm not doing that, I'm doing this, like I'm doing it in the woods surrounded by fairies, blah 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 blah. And then like realistically
when
it's
comes
like
down to it,
the ultimate thing at the end of the day is just get the baby out like as safe as possible. So things will, like we had a plan, it was like birthing pool and things changed, but ultimately she came out fine, healthy, etc.
What was the thing that like most people don't want to take, like a medicine, and then everyone pretty much just goes
the
right? You know what I
the
mean,
needle
though.
in your back, the needle in your back.
And like I fit, as when it gets to that point, everyone is just like,
epidural.
everyone's just like, no, that
Sarah had been, we'd been in labor for like 14 hours or something, like something horrible. And they basically suggested it because the waters are broken. There was meconium in the waters, which is poo, baby poo.
Why is it called meconium?
I guess it's a polite word of saying your baby has shit itself inside you. Like, and it's basically like black liquidy tar. And there's a risk that it can get up in the baby's lungs and things. So like, at that point, it was like, okay, they had to monitor the baby and blah, 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 blah. But so, yeah, Sarah opted for that. And eventually, it's mental because they put fentanyl, which is the drug that like Mac Miller and that, like all the kind of hip hop, it's always laced in.
Wait,
like,
that's not the thing that's like mixed with heroin, is it?
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah. And it's literally just a bag and it just says fentanyl. And they put it into your spine with this needle. And he's like, you have to basically stay still. And Sarah's having contractions while he's putting this thing in, like proper like, and it's like, stay the fuck still, because it can cause like issues if it goes wrong. Kind of thing. But yeah, a lot of people end up opting for that. But some people have like way more. Aside from that, Sarah's was sort of ultimately, I guess, natural. But no, it's fucking amazing. Mind blowing.
Ridiculous. And now being a father, time.
So the first the first week or so, baby's knackered, you're knackered, and everything's kind of nice. You got this cute little blob, and she's tired and she's not screaming that much, and it's all good. Blob. She's basically a little blob or a potato or whatever. Like, and then when she starts to like become a bit more alive and the world is new and everything is upsetting and all she wants is food, and then you've got to deal with breastfeeding, which for some people is really easy. For Sarah, it wasn't so much. And like when she's hungry, the thing that I've struggled with the most was the fact that I am like if I've got nothing to do, which like I will just sit on my laptop and do bits and make myself feel productive, which isn't necessarily healthy, but it's like how I operate. Yeah. And suddenly all of that time went away. And that really, it wasn't like that was stressing me out. Like I need to do things, but there was this weird stress. And then like when Sarah has her, she can either breastfeed or feed or like whatever. And at that point, Sarah was like sort of trying really, really hard to breastfeed. So like a lot of the time when she was crying, Sarah could soothe her by putting her on the boob. When you're holding, as a man, when you're holding a screaming baby, there's nothing you can do. Like you could feed her from a bottle or whatever, but like if she's just crying, you are basically useless to her. Yeah. And it makes you feel so fucking like powerless, and you're just like, and it's like 3 a.m. or whatever, you haven't slept.
Yeah, stressed. I remember you saying like,
and it wears you down.
Just kind of, you just stare into nothing.
It wears you down so quick.
You're just going.
Yeah. I got into a really, really bad headspace for a couple of weeks and was just fucking depressed basically. And now I feel a lot better. And she's the fucking best thing in the world, and she's good. You've only met her once, which is so, because kids, it's so normal. I'd
usually be around, like, especially when you had Darwin.
Yeah, you'd always be around
every day.
But because Daisy's been at home and there's been no reason for her to come in, it's like, but yeah, she's the cutest thing. It's funny because I haven't posted anything on Instagram. There's not a photo of Davy's face on publicly. Yeah. And I kind of keep forgetting that because I have her close friends and I'll put that on there. But I just don't want like PKFR memes going like,
I know. I think, especially when we're...
That face you pull when you don't stick a pre in it's Daisy's face. And I'm like, I don't want that.
No, that would be weird. But it's especially different because we're part of a community within a sport, or just a community in general. Whereas, you know, a lot of people who have social media apps are just within their friend group. So posting stuff like that isn't actually as bad, but you kind of got to be a bit careful.
Yeah, I mean, if she like decimates a nappy, it's quite likely I'll take a photo and send it to sort of people.
Yeah,
and then
of
you get a
course.
funny response.
Yeah.
Or something like that.
Putting it out to the world with loads of people you don't know is kind of
the
risky.
feeling though, the feeling of making your own baby smile. And I do it every morning now. Like
Really,
with a little
yeah.
like not actually she didn't do it this morning because she was asleep. Came out from the dog walk. That's sad actually. But normally she's like awake and you can make her smile and it's honestly the best fucking feeling in the world. Like
Really,
it does.
yeah.
There's this like, I guess it's like an instinctive animalistic like thing. You're fucking like in here just explodes with like hormones. You're like, oh, like it's so
you do that every morning as like a
yeah, she's so smiling
explosion
in the morning
to make your day
juice
better.
me up. Yeah.
Here it goes. Nice.
Anyway, yeah, basically, don't rush into having kids, but I would say at this stage, I'm loving it.
Yeah, sick.
I'm loving it. Shall we go on to the big topic?
Yeah.
Before we do, actually, just
do it.
because I can see it here, and I know we forgot it in the podcast that we recorded the other day with Kevin Franzen from Keeper, which is coming out next week. Prod Me is our 10% discount code, and I forgot it, but we need to mention it more. So if you're listening to this or watching on the Patreon,
If you want to pick up some goods.
yeah, we have a 10% off code, and it is Prod Me in all capitals. So
And shorts.
shorts. Oh, we're going to talk about shorts. Yeah.
Well, it's just,
They're coming out today.
discount code and then shorts.
Yeah, they're
might
coming
as
out
well.
today, which is the day of this podcast going live. Obviously, if you're listening to this in a week's time, then you're slow. But
You say today. Today,
6 p.m. Yeah,
6 p.m.
We have developed in-house this kind of concept regarding. Well, basically, the idea is to like minimize dead stock and waste stock because dead stock is a very real thing. Like last year, we bought a load of winter stock, and although a load of it sold really well, some of it doesn't sell so well. And it's like you can discount, but then ultimately people are buying stuff that they don't necessarily. They're like, oh, I'm buying it because it's on discount. Which is like, okay, well, can we do something to this to essentially add value to it?
Yeah.
And yeah, so the idea was developed, and then we reutilized Gary from the Get Lost collection, and he's now going to be like a consistent thing whenever we do like a work. It's called a workshop rework.
He is so good, and we do have so many of them. It would be a shame for them.
He's like our symbol
to
of
waste.
the world being pissed, basically.
Yeah.
And yeah, so we've cut these shorts off, working with a handsome man.
Yeah.
There'll be more on that soon. And yeah, doing some really, really cool stuff in-house, which is all going to be progressing a lot in the very near future because we've got some Is my voice really deep today?
Yeah, a bit.
I don't know if it's just my fucking headphones. I sound really bassy. We're doing some really cool shit moving forward. Like really, really cool shit. But we'll be putting a lot more content out surrounding that. So I don't want to blow my load now.
Yeah.
But yeah, the workshop reworks is basically our thing that whenever we need to with regards to like dead stock or even like upcycling other products that we might be using and things like we've got a lot of cool ideas to basically try and do cool stuff with it. That was Kevin coughing.
It was Kevin. That sounded so loud. I mean, we even said that ages ago when we had the Fuck It bucket, which I don't even know if that's been on camera or anything that much.
No, the Fuck It bucket's just a giant tub in this room.
Which is just fucked stuff that we've printed wrong or just things that have come out.
Yeah,
different.
a weirdly sampled thing.
But it's like we've always spoken about where does all of that go? I know that that's not what we're selling right now, but it's like reusing stuff we kind of need to do.
Yeah, we've got some cool ideas for the Fuck It bucket that require some other sort of machinery and things, but
which I'm glad we're going in that direction.
Faux show. But yeah, they're coming out. We actually put them online for the secret store last night for the Patreon members, and they actually sold really well. So hopefully they will do well. There's not actually that many because it's basically just the sort of sum of the leftover joggers that we've got. And we are working on, we're very, very close to having the kind of our autumn winter collection out, which hopefully will get out in October. Coming together really nicely, to be honest.
I'm excited.
I mean, we've also got like 1,000 pairs of trousers in the works, but it's so hard to know when they're coming because of, COVID, basically the shipping issues. This factory is like, it's still had this huge effect. So there are trousers in the works, but don't sort of go, oh, they're going to be out in a month. Because honestly, I don't know if they'll be out this year, which is really upsetting. Like we might, if we know they're coming soon, like put them on pre-order or something so people can kind of use Christmas money or whatever. But like, yeah, it's at this stage they're coming, but we don't know when.
Have you ever had a pair of trousers that isn't?
Oh no, we've never had a collection that we've
Easter egg?
What was that? Oh, it's Max. Because I didn't know where it came from. Yeah. We've never had a collection that's come out on time, but it's fine. Anyway, shall we go into the big...
Yeah, I'm...
The big one.
I'm quite excited to talk about this because I don't think I've... Well, none of us have been... Oh, you've been public with kind of your thoughts behind it.
I put some stuff on Instagram the other day before I'd seen it, just being like... There's a really cool quote, which is... So the topic we're going to talk about is the kind of the hype and the hate, I guess, the controversy around the Enter the Breach, which is Breach's new film, which released just under a week ago now. People, if you're listening to this, are probably aware of kind of what went down, but basically it released, and then within a couple of days, there were just certain people in the community, all kind of, I would say, from a bit of a clique, just putting out kind of negative comments, but not with any real constructiveness to them. Just being like, I want my money back, and then doing like polls of like who thought it was shit or something. And it's just like, it felt like the wrong approach to... Because like we'll go through this, and I've got some now that I've seen it. When I put this thing on Instagram the other day, I hadn't actually seen it. I watched it.
I almost think that was better, you putting your thoughts out before you'd seen it, because it was more you were just talking about the reaction. It didn't matter.
Yeah. Like I've got thoughts on it, and I've got things that I don't necessarily like. I've got things I like, and I've got things I don't like, as would anyone who watches something. But
you could see the reaction without knowing what was in the film. So it's more just like you could see.
It's just like the worst part is, right?
Rude, to be honest.
Yeah,
not your fault.
No. And the worst part is, some of the people who put out negative stuff, I've since seen kind of stuff they have written in private to other people who have asked like, oh, why the hate kind of thing. And they've actually put together quite well thought out like paragraphs of like, well, actually some of them. Yeah. Like, oh, well, I wasn't a fan of this and I wasn't a fan of this. It's like, well, say that. Yeah. Don't just be like, it was shit. Because if you've got influence and you're saying it was shit, you're immediately saying to your fans like, don't go and buy it.
Yeah, it's more the when the polls were going up about what was it? It was more like, was it worth the money or all of this? Or it was just shit. Did you not like? Because it just feels very like you're trying to get a gang of people to gang up on it. Whereas putting out your like constructive criticism is way better than
I mean, so let's sort of go back. So like ultimately the film was shot last summer. Some people were like, oh, it feels like it's been hyped up for a year. To be honest, I think Breach went pretty quiet on it. Like they could have, it's not like it was Soul Destroyer where because we had so many delays, we kept making people feel it was coming sooner than it was. Yeah. And to be honest, that thing was overhyped. But I think the only thing that people have maybe been a bit like misconstrued, if that's the word is, and it's not even really Breach's fault, but so there wasn't that much hype leading up to the trailer, right? People who were in the know knew it was coming, but it wasn't gassed up. Then the trailer drops. Trailer was fucking fantastic, edited by Toby. It did include some quotes. So I think one from like Scott from Ampersand, and it was like the most important film since RCA. That does give the impression that, okay, this is going to be like, boom. And then there were a couple others that like, but it's not like Breach was saying that about themselves. It was just, that was someone's opinion. Like if somebody said
that's true, actually. Yeah, because I wouldn't agree, since that, like, I don't think RCA is very comparable.
No, like, so, but we'll go on to that in a bit, but I don't think that quote is necessarily the most accurate representation. And I think that was what misled.
But what you're saying is like, if they are just other people's thoughts, it's not like Breach was saying that about themselves, which you should see when they were sharing them, that it's like, oh, this person said that.
Yeah. Like,
rather than hating
upon
on
watching that film, I don't think, oh, Breach deceived me. I think, oh, that's interesting. Scott had that thought, because like maybe I wouldn't quite put it in that category or something like that.
Well, then if you have that thought, then would it not be better to just message Scott and be like, that's interesting. Like, why did you think this? And have a conversation about it.
But so, I mean, so I don't think it was overhyped, to be honest. Like, there were certain people in the community within more personal circles who were like gassed on it because they were part of it. And there's a lot of incredible physical stuff, and they're like, oh my God, like Ed fucking killed it. This person killed it. And it's like, well, that's true. But I don't think publicly we were made to like think that it was gonna just, I personally was expecting it, because I knew the caliber of people involved. I was expecting it to be sort of massive. But I don't think, not to the point where I would ever be like, oh shit. Yeah. It was shit.
But it was at the end of the day as well, it's a tour video. So like, I know that some people, well, when I watched Arthur's story.
Oh, I see. I didn't actually watch that because I didn't have any headphones.
Because I haven't seen much of the backlash because I haven't really been seeing it.
Yeah.
But he said a lot of people were angry about all the like fuck around bits, like the cereal box.
So let's go on to that in a minute. The thing I want to just cover is like, is it worth £12 and should we as a community?
Is it 12? Yeah, I didn't know the price of it.
It's $5 to rent, I think. $11.99 maybe. But like, is it worth that? I'm not saying that as a question. It's more of like and also should we as a community be paying to support things? And both questions are 100% yes. Like at the end of the day, as much as, I mean, fucking Soul Destroyer was 12 minutes. It's 45 minutes long. Some people might prefer Soul Destroyer or whatever, but like that comes down to subjectiveness. But at the end of the day, the price is basically set by what you quantify what has gone into it and also kind of the level of quality of which you as the creator put it out as. And if you put a year of work into it and have multiple editors and blah, 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 like the entire purpose of these things is to generate revenue, to generate profits that can eventually be put back into things to scale up, whether that's another tour, whether that's paying the editors. Like, I mean, at the bare minimum, like even doing a project and just going, cool, like guys, I don't think we'll make profit off of this, but we could all like, as let's say Kelan is an editor and let's say his rate was X, for a certain amount of time, it's like, well, even paying someone their worthy rate to work on a cool project that goes out is better than not fucking paying them. Like we need to be putting more money into the community and digital assets are such a good way to do it because they don't involve storing stock. They don't involve manufacturing clothing, et cetera, and it's so easy for, I mean, someone like Keeper, we talked to Kevin next week about this. Like it's so easy for them in the future as a collective to go out and film an incredible video over many, many months, put it out at a really, really high level that they're proud of, and then generate like, I don't know, 5, 10, 20,000 pounds, which ultimately can put money in their pockets and allow them to do bigger things. Yeah.
And what people don't see is the money put in to make that anyway.
Yeah. Like Soul Destroyer
travel and food while you're doing all of that. And there is money behind it. It's not just money out of nothing.
I don't know how much Enter the Breach cost, but I know it was sort of thousands because of van rentals and sort of editing and blah, 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 blah. Like Soul Destroyer, there was accommodation, there was travel, there was like, I paid music licenses for people because I wanted to use bands' music and things like this. Like it costs money. And then I spent fucking 2 months editing it. And it's not like I went, oh, sick, I'm now going to pocket a load of that. But
but you'd spend like 60 quid on an item of clothing. This is how much did you say? 11.99,
yeah.
11.99.
And like personally,
for a film, like that's it's nothing really.
What's really funny is, well, not funny, but interesting is I thought kind of not as a result of Soul Destroyer, but I guess it would have been an influence in my thought process that we would maybe by this point, a year and a half later, have seen more sort of teams go out and make like Berlingo, for example, or Kipper's next project, like go out and make kind of 30-minute long pieces and sell them for like a £5 or something like that. And ultimately, I think that is a good idea. I think we as a community should be far more used. If we're buying a fucking Kipper t-shirt, for 25 quid or whatever, or a Motus t-shirt for 30 quid, or blah, 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 paying a £5 to support somebody's digital creation, which you know is going to massively impact on the brand, should be fucking accepted.
Yeah.
There will become a point of oversaturation where like a team forms 3 months later, a load of 14-year-olds put something out, charge a £5 for it, and it's dog shit.
But then you'll see that happen and not do well, and then they can receive that information and improve what they're doing, or just realize it's too early to do that.
But like if there's anything we as a community should be putting money into, it's digital creations, because they're so much easier for people in all circumstances to do. Like you could be fucking in India and not from like a very wealthy background or whatever, have access to enough camera gear to go out and make an incredible video of you and your friends traveling around like some amazing landscapes and things. Like you could have the bare minimum to create that thing and sell it and change your life. And it's like, we should be supporting that, and rather than knocking it at the first fucking hurdle.
And a lot of the, if you think about what is in specifically the Breach film, parkour wise, like some of the shit that people do in it, like maybe the descents or whatever, you kind of are like risking your life and stuff. It's you think about making clothing, that's not dangerous.
No. There's
you go to the circus and you pay to watch circus acts. I don't want to compare that to parkour, but I am, you know, and there is involved in that. You are kind of like, wow, that's dangerous.
There are so many layers to why it should be worth the money.
It's just because it's so free at the moment with like YouTube and Instagram, and you see so much of it.
That was one of the comments that was like,
you know,
I think it was
but that's why I guess people get the thing like, well, why is this one paid for now? And
that was a guy called Miles put a story up. He was like, love the film. But he put a story up being like, I'm curious to hear people's opinions. And a lot of like people responded. And some of them were like, it feels like stuff that would have been on Instagram 5 years ago. One, that's a lie because like the level of movement 5 years ago was not at that level. And two, that is a problem with Instagram and the fact that we're so fucking quick to like we want to scratch that itch of gratification that we're putting stuff out so quickly and we're not treasuring it to make these long form things. Like long form projects take a serious amount of time to make them worthwhile, to make them worth that money. Because we're fucking scared. We've put out a paid thing. We're working on another one right now.
Yeah.
It's fucking scary because like you don't want to put something out and have this backlash. You don't want people going like, oh, I'm not fucking, but like that was shit.
Yeah, I guess so. That is so negative. That is a very big negative thing that this might scare off a lot of people trying.
Exactly.
This.
And it's like going, oh, I could have seen that on Instagram is more a problem that some of like athletes are too quick to just be like, I need the fucking likes. Like I need this.
Also, if you think about how memorable, just because because roof culture dates back compared to like Soul Destroy and Breach, they're kind of still, I still think Soul Destroy is kind of newish, but it's not. You still remember roof culture, and you still, if you say roof culture Asia, everyone understands what it is and it's still like this thing. Whereas someone's insane thing on Instagram, even if it is like fucking sick, you will forget about it. Yeah. Like we've spoken about that fucking loads, but like, and that still should be encouraged.
And it's so hard to go back and find.
Yeah. If you want that, like, if you are stuck in the gratification loop thing, you need some like discipline.
You need some milk.
Yeah. You need to like put that into something bigger, so
and ultimately
it can stick around longer for your benefit and others.
Yeah, and the thing you so often don't get on Instagram, which is where things like Roof Culture specifically had a load of these amazing moments. Breach had a couple of, like, my favorite moments. I want to go on to the Breach film properly in a second, but like my favorite moments of the Breach film are Ben Reddington's ascent, that bit, and David Nelms' arm jump. Yeah, because the whole thing slows down. And I mean, I've seen Max obviously try David Nelms' arm jump. Is it David's arm jump? Is it Max's arm jump? Is it, I don't know, but you know what I mean? And that's what I love. I love behind the jump. I love breaking that shit down and watching that. So those moments of seeing the actual fear and the mental like processing are my favorite bits. And you don't get that on Instagram ever because it doesn't fucking work.
I didn't think about that. Yeah, you don't.
Yeah.
Of course you don't.
And that's obviously why like Roof Culture, not why, but Roof Culture has so many moments like that. It's like them overcoming mental challenges.
I remember a lot of them. Yeah. Still. It's years, so.
So you saw the film at the premiere.
Yeah.
I basically have had no social life for how many months. I didn't get to go.
It's definitely a different experience for seeing anything, obviously. It's a screening. And
it's
also,
honestly the best. Like, do you remember the Roof Culture one?
Oh yeah, for sure. In London
a
with
group
everyone.
Screening is always, because people cheer when you watch it.
Yeah, we had that with the Breach one as well. And I think that definitely helps compared to if I was to watch it first time at home, I'd still fucking love it. But seeing it with people, especially with the people who are involved with it as well, and you kind of get stuff off of their energy.
It's probably like it's probably a slightly biased environment to watch it in because
I'd say so, but it was still an enjoyable experience.
But not it's not really a bad bias. Like I would rather have that environment.
And I get to see how passionate everyone is there being a part of it and then seeing it come to life. Yeah. They're so hyped about it and you're like, fuck.
It's like going to a movie
This
premiere.
means a lot to everyone in this room and it is sick. But like, especially for a parkour premiere, it's everyone cheers, which is just awesome. And you get laughs as well. It's like a show almost.
Exactly. It's like when you go to like, I don't know if you've ever been to like an actual movie premiere or anything.
No, not a premiere.
But so like, I've never been to one that's like got the actors, but I've been to like the first screening of The Jungle Book in London for some reason. I got invited to that. But like, there's like a collective energy that feels so positive about the creation. And if I were to watch that film again on at home and also had my phone there, it's so much easier, especially, and also the worst case is to watch it with a group of skeptics because then you go into it picking it apart. Like even to be completely honest, watching it 2 days ago, probably was in a slightly more skeptic mindset because of hearing about the hate than if I'd watched it like prior to that or at the premiere, because I'm almost like looking for like, oh, I can see why people didn't like this bit or whatever. And you shouldn't. It's like why you shouldn't read reviews before going into a film. Like you want to go in with like a neutral mindset, ideally.
Yeah, that's very true.
I mean, so ultimately, the way I would describe it is, well, this is kind of more my personal preference, because ultimately, whatever I say from now on, I still think go and buy the film. I still think it's an amazing piece. Like, it was incredibly entertaining. These are more just like, because we would, even if it didn't have all the hate and we were going to talk about something, I think we would share our opinions on it.
Yeah, of course.
So
we have opinions about our own things, like
exactly
a year later and stuff. And that's how I think that's still very important. Criticism is important for, if that's the right word, for everything.
Yeah.
But it's just,
it's how you
being careful with also like, there's a line.
Yeah.
You know,
it was fucking shit done.
Yeah.
Like,
rather than certain people saying like, they just hating on it because they like the clout or whatever. I don't know what it is. Like,
but yeah, so ultimately it was definitely different to what I expected. I didn't really know what I expected, but I kind of thought I was going to be a little bit more like, holy fucking shit, like the level has been raised. And that immediately sounds negative, and I don't want it to sound like that. But like, sometimes I watch something and I come away like, oh my God, like the Thamesmead Storrow video, I remember watching that for the first time.
Yeah.
And like, I felt like Toby and Sasha like really took things to like, with regards to their production, I was like, fuck, like I'm inspired.
Really like that video.
Not to say I wasn't inspired from this, but I thought I was going to walk away with a little bit more of that feeling. I think my main thoughts, I guess you could call them criticisms, was it did feel a little bit like Hector is a fucking unbelievable editor.
Yeah, well,
as
he
an editor,
professionally edits like music videos and stuff.
But I think personally, and I've said this for a couple of years now, I personally think his style is far more suited to music videos than parkour. Like, I like to let
or
parkour,
even maybe stylized parts of parkour videos, maybe just not the parkour.
Yeah. Like, I personally just like it when parkour gets a little bit more time to breathe. It's a little less cutty and flashy and sort of, so sometimes I did feel like I was a bit like, I feel like the parkour was almost getting like muddied a little bit. Like, I want to just appreciate that. But once again, that's a subjective opinion.
Of course it is.
And then Chris's editing was fantastic. And he, from the sounds of it, he kind of basically had the whole thing together and sort of created the story and things. I think the downfall of that is it did feel a little bit like two different styles stuck together. Switching from like a Hector edit to a Chris edit to an interlude and things. And then that coupled with, I guess a little bit disjointed would be the feeling that I came away from. I feel really bad saying this, but at the same time, I'm trying to remind myself that we would have this conversation regardless of the hate. And I don't mean this in hate. This is purely just, of course. I just feel like it felt a little bit like, oh, that animation style. Okay. Now that animation style, now a Hector edit, now a Chris edit. And what I almost thought I was going to see more of was a little bit more of like tour camaraderie. Like the bits where like Travis is fucking around in the van and they're waving to people. I thought that we'd see it. It didn't feel hugely like...
That's why I kind of liked the cereal box stuff and whatever.
Yeah.
I know they were a bit darted around, but I think because also we are used to doing those sort of things, the tour element, right?
Yeah, the basketball bit before that did feel a little bit long, but it was leading up to the cereal box bit.
Also leading up to Max doing that
the sick thing.
Shot, which is fucking jokes.
But like, really, we're kind of just nitpicking for the sake of
course,
nitpicking because it's now become a topic of conversation. But yeah, I mean, ultimately, I just feel like it was a little bit like kind of stuck together. And I was thinking this morning, like the animation styles were fucking amazing. I can't remember the animators that did it.
I know. The animation stuff was pretty cool.
It was really cool, really inspiring. But I almost wish they'd stuck to like one style of animation, maybe. And also the stories, like, I mean, none of them weren't entertaining. Like Ben Reddington's one in Paris, Scandrick's one about his GCSE.
Yeah, the spot kickoffs.
Yeah,
stuff.
But they didn't feel like they were linked to the tour. I'd almost prefer to hear a story. I don't know, the cereal story, for example. I'd almost prefer to hear like Max go like, oh, shit got wild last night. And it like twists into an animation
and then back
of them throwing a cereal.
Yeah.
And then it twists into the cereal scene. It's like, so that it all felt more cohesive.
But the cool thing is as well that I've never seen anyone even like mention stories within parkour within a video like that.
Yeah.
So that's kind of opened up a door for me when I was watching. I was like, wow, like that. People can tell stories like that, and there's an animation over it, and you can relate a tiny bit because we're all part of the same sport. Which is really interesting.
And also, we all know the guys involved, so either way,
it's so funny.
They're like entertaining.
Joe talking about him being in the
exact exam because you fucking know Joe.
And I know. It's
like,
so
Mish,
funny.
this is about me. Probably, yeah.
I
would have loved to see Joe at school actually.
But no, I agree with the editing style and the maybe not being like, I don't know, different editors and things.
Yeah.
But for me, when I watched it, obviously like you said, it could have been a bit biased watching it at a premiere, but we had just come back from doing a similar thing.
Yeah.
So, and also I really didn't know what to expect, which is everyone says that sort of thing, but I really didn't.
Yeah.
I really didn't know whether it was, but
because you saw it before the trailer come out, hadn't you?
Yeah. So I had no clue, but then it really helped us doing some form of a tour before because I knew that they did a tour.
Yep.
So when I watched it, I was just relating to how ours felt, and I was like, yeah, well, that seems quite right. Like that's what a tour feels like. But also it gave me so many ideas. I'm obviously not stealing, but it gave me so many ideas for
what you're working
in the
on.
future. So I came away from it like, wow, I didn't think of, because it was pretty outside the box. A lot of the stuff
very
they were
outside
doing,
the box,
was so different to your like generic A to B sort of London to which was really, really sick. And I didn't know there'd be interviews in it either. Which was,
I knew there were interviews because I'd seen and heard about it a little bit. But actually, fuck me. Hold up. I sit on this side. I've always been on this side.
Oh, yeah.
If you watch any of the podcasts, you know I was this side. Keelan's on that side.
Even in the old place.
Even in the old place.
I was on this side.
They ran us over with a van.
Yeah.
And I sit here. And also I look like I was dying in that. My face was all like melted. And there was a weird play mat on the floor. There was like, there's a thing in there. There's like a kid's play mat on the floor.
Yeah, a car thing.
Yeah,
but was that not like...
Definitely don't have that at the old place.
You sure? Not afterwards when we used
But
to play
yeah,
with cars.
come on. If you're going to fucking kill us with a van or at least run us out of the way, get it accurate.
I'm glad that they did that though.
I loved it. Yeah.
And then afterwards as well, Chris did come up to me and was like we asked around and like we didn't know if it was okay to put it in. Like we can take
to
it
be
out
honest,
before release.
I honestly would have preferred it if it had been more like gory.
Yeah, really.
Like if we'd actually got splattered.
Yeah.
Like,
it was quite scary for me to watch it when at the premiere I didn't know it was coming up.
That initial thing with
Travis
the book.
and Travis said like he was waiting for it because he knew it was.
Oh, yeah. Because Travis sent me a little clip on his phone, and I was like, "What the fuck is this?" And then I saw the thing. I was like, "Oh!"
But I was scared because I was like, "Oh shit, what have we said?"
That's
it wasn't
always
that bad,
the thing.
but it was like, I'm not even with Giles. I'm just gonna have to take this on my own with whatever we've said, and then it happened.
Yeah.
And everyone laughed, and I was just like, "Man, this is actually very funny."
Yeah, that's always the thing. Is like, oh, what have we said?
Yeah.
Like,
but I'm glad, like, you can have fun with that. Like, we're all friends. Like, it's not.
Yeah. Like Chris messaged me afterwards and was like, he basically said the same thing. Like, are you? I was like, oh, fucking yeah, it's absolutely fine.
If anything, more of that.
Like, I mean, we've already now had the conversation of basically like reciprocating and doing like
you've
some
just
playful
opened
thing.
the door for us to do it back at you.
Yeah,
so.
exactly. Like we can do something. I don't know. Like we crashed into the breach fan, or like.
But that's what. So when they said about community vibes, I guess that did make it feel very. I mean, again, it's biased because it's us.
Yeah.
But we weren't even involved in it. And yet they still involved us. And it might be just the UK community, but it's like, that felt quite nice. It felt like the tour was going around, but there was this story. It wasn't really a story, but like there was a background things that were going on.
Yeah.
Like, meanwhile, in Royal Tunbridge Wells.
Yeah. And also, we don't live in Tunbridge Wells anymore. So get it right. Come on. But yeah, no, exactly. And that, I guess that was one thing that was raised, is that like it felt very UK, but it's like, well, it's gonna fucking feel UK. We were in the middle of a pandemic. Like,
how are you meant to make it not feel?
And it's like, at the end of the day, you can't please everyone. And if sort of you've got all these UK athletes, especially people like kind of Scandra and Lawrence, who are like very
Phil,
very UK, and then like try to make it kind of, I don't know, American soundtracks and things and vibes that would.
But then it's not. it's not like discouraging. If anything, that's encouraging. Like I would love to see a version of that that's with US athletes.
Yeah.
Like that's the thing.
So that's the thing I was talking about on the Instagram. Is like there's this quote which is criticize through creation, not through finding fault. And obviously, I mean, we have just sort of essentially given some criticism there, but it's like ultimately there is this thing of like, well, if you think you can do better and you kind of want to make something that like, if you're like, oh, well, I think it could have been this, then it's like, well, go and make that.
Yeah.
Especially the people in question who were chatting the most shit because they're all fucking insanely talented.
Which was that's a shame.
Like,
that is it's just annoying like that.
Yeah. Actually,
it only backfires on them really. But
the worst thing about the whole bean thing, right, is that I don't know what beans they're talking about because I don't think it's baked beans. But like Americans, you don't get a can of Heinz beans.
Yeah.
And therefore, are they obsessing over like pinto beans or whatever?
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe they can answer that if they. I doubt they've.
I want to see every single one of them eat two pieces. No,
they don't even eat beans on toast over there, do they?
No. I want to see every single one of them have 3 slices of white bread with a can of room temperature, not cold, room temperature Heinz beans.
You love your room. Did you say bread? That's going to go
toast. Yeah, toast. And I want to see them eat it without flinching, and then I will have respect. Then it will come back. But
I have respect to they make a Heinz baked beans t-shirt, then that'd be all right.
If it was, but I don't think it is Heinz. That's the thing.
No, that's what I'm saying. Because then they're like,
that's the only bean.
One I
mean, there are good beans, but like Heinz beans,
kidney beans.
They're just boring beans. They're like
Yeah. Anyway.
But yeah, like my mum. Why have you paid me £5? But yeah. So those are my thoughts. Like ultimately, oh sorry, I just punched the mic. I definitely enjoyed it. I thought I was gonna be a little bit more like, holy fucking shit, that was the best thing in the world. I think that thought was set up by the trailer and the quotes at the end of the trailer. But ultimately, I'm not dissatisfied, and I don't feel like the trailer lied. I just feel like I set my expectation in a slightly different place, which is fine. Like that happens. It's like people going to the Bond film and expecting it to be good when Bond films are just the most fucking overplayed pieces of shit. I honestly,
you really don't like Bond films, do you?
I just think it's just like, oh, here's another spy film, and then there's a bad guy, and then there's a girl, and it's just the same fucking storyline played out in a different thing, and people are like,
I quite like some of the Bond films, but then I don't like.
Oh, there's some amazing.
But then I don't really like any superhero films, which sounds really bad because there's probably fucking good ones, but I just don't like superheroes.
There are some amazing Bond films. I just think the whole thing is so played out.
Well, it's like bringing out a new Call of Duty every year.
Yeah, and it's like, the Christmas tradition. One. Oh, we won't do it last year because the pandemic, and we won't get on. Like they won't make enough money, and it's like, fuck off. Sorry, that derailed.
Yeah, fully.
Anyway, go and buy it. Feel free to fucking go and buy Soul Destroyer if you haven't already, because that always helps us. Go buy Roof Culture. Go buy whatever else comes out next.
And if you disagree with anything that we're saying, don't get angry about it. Come and talk to us. Do you know what I mean? As in, like, if not come and talk to us on Instagram or whatever. Yeah, anything that's
people always get upset, and then I get Instagram messages, and I always have to apologize.
Yeah, but not upset. But maybe just like if there's something that Giles or me thought, our criticism, be like, well, I actually like that bit because, and then you start a conversation rather than,
Actually, I'm going to say one critical thing, like it's something that I just straight up kind of upset me was. So I loved Ben Reddington's Ascent. Hated the music afterwards. It was a really nice moment, and then it was like, and I was like, whoa.
But maybe like half the people in that.
Oh, I'm sure loads of people loved it.
Yeah. But I hope that most of the people on that tour, that's the type of thing they like, because I wonder whether that would be something when they heard it, they were like, I don't like that type of music either.
Yeah. I mean, but that was
but
just
then we also like, we have the other end of the spectrum, whereas we like
aggressive music.
Yeah. And we use that stuff because we like it.
Yeah. That's the thing. That's just as a subjective thing. I was like, oh, I love this build up. I love this challenge that he's doing. And then I was like, ooh.
But then it is still criticism, because I don't think I'd use a heavy song over something like that.
True.
In our terms. But it's creative decisions, and it was interesting.
Speaking of music, I've had a few messages over the last couple of months of like, oh, you're going to bring back Music Minute, blah, blah, blah. Like maybe one day. But I feel like there's been a lot of music going on at the moment, and this podcast is known for basically chatting some stuff about music. So I did just want to say, we saw While She Sleeps the other night. Underworld, unbelievable.
Yeah, very, very good. First,
a few hundred people. First gig back, yeah.
Back, and also it was the last gig. We saw them. Seeing them was the last gig we had before COVID.
Kelan did a 720 stage dive and didn't get caught.
No one caught me. I got cocky because I did one and it was a normal one. And then because they were encouraging people to go up on the stage. Yeah. And I thought I'd spin and I was a bit drunk as well. So you're just like, yeah, fucking twist.
And it's in the video, which is amazing.
But no one's going to catch a spinning human. So
no.
Anyway, And
then some guy, we got out and we were like chatting on the escalator and some guy turned around and he was like, I know. He was like,
he said, you're Giles, aren't you?
And he went, yeah, and you're Max. And you were like, no. But then he messaged you, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. So he found my Instagram. Oh, and someone landed on your head as well, didn't they?
Oh, I got my neck fucking wrecked. Yeah, that was not fun.
Yeah.
And then you went to Bring Me the Horizon.
Yeah, I'd never been to the O2 before. I went with Kevin and Bloggy.
Bloggy, saw that.
Yeah, and that was fucking cool as well. I'm loving gigs right now. It's been a long time, so
I'm very jealous.
Yeah.
But I just want to run through some bands that I've been listening to because people do ask.
Yeah.
As much as that sounds weird. Deadlights, fantastic. Bit like Arcane Roots, but weirder and heavier.
Yeah, I've only listened to one of their albums.
Error, incredibly riffy. ERRA. Turnstile, fucking fantastic, like skate punk from America kind of vibes. Somebody did a poo in one of their pits like a couple of weeks ago and it was this huge talking point because they were like, who's shit in the pit? And it became this massive thing of like...
How did that... I mean, everyone must have seen it happen.
Well, this is what I was trying to work out. Like, did he poo down his leg and then throw it? Or... apparently it ended up on the stage. So,
oh my God.
Yeah. I mean, thinking of like kind of, you know, sort of hygiene and COVID and like, you're like, oh, I'm going to go to this gig. I might catch COVID. And then shit gets flung in your face.
Shit.
Yeah. Spirit Box, unbelievable. Courtney LaPlante, who is an incredible vocalist. She also has a song with Make Them Suffer, which is very good. Little Sims' album is amazing, as are her music videos.
Yeah. Has that got the song in it that's in that crazy big place, or is that from
Natural History Museum?
Yeah.
Yeah, Introvert. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
really, really good. Sleep Tokens album came out. Oh, and this is the other thing, and I don't think you're aware of this yet, but Architects are playing Ali Pali next year. You, me, and Jordan have tickets, but now Kelan from Contendant.
We have tickets?
Yeah, I bought them ages ago.
Wow.
Because it was meant to be this November.
Yeah.
Kelan from Contendant's now got tickets. Scotty has got tickets.
Contendant, I didn't know.
Scotty's got tickets as well. Nice. So basically, if you want to have a Motus meetup, Architects, Ali Pali next year.
We should get Hendo to go as well and his girlfriend. They went and saw Architects recently.
Hendo?
Yeah, he likes them now.
What?
I don't know why. They went to a festival and they were playing and then now he likes them.
Oh, he must have been at that one, the hip hop festival.
I think so, yeah.
Where only they played.
But now but now he's like into Architects. And he's also into Bring Me as well and all of that. But
weird.
Did I tell you that
his girlfriend was at Bring Me?
But I knew she was going to be there, but I forgot what she looked like, so I only met her once. And there was a massive queue outside, and I was like, I don't know if this is for merch or not.
Yeah.
I did not know who to pick, so I just ran over to a group. Anyone, could have been anyone.
Yeah.
I was like, is this for merch or the line? And she was just like, Kelan. I'm sorry, I don't recognise you. She was like, Hendo's girlfriend. What the fuck? Like, how?
Yeah.
Out of anyone?
Out of like 20,000 people.
Yeah, but there you go.
Mental. Should we wrap this up? Because you need to go and pick up Sam from the station.
Yeah, what's time?
5 to 11.
Yeah, I do.
And so next week we have an episode with Kevin Franzen from Keeper, as we said. It's a very good episode. We talk about all of his kind of intro into parkour influences and then Keeper and where they're going to go with that, which is really cool.
Yes.
And then afterwards there might be a little bit of a break followed by, I don't want to say it.
That's so funny because I don't think we've ever actually said
if we announce a break, now it won't happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what we've got to do.
We got some very, 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 very cool stuff happening, of which we are going to basically jump back on the content game because we've been slacking.
Slacking and planning, though.
Slacking and planning.
Because it's just, yeah.
I think finally it's just like Patreon is going to get slapped in the face with content, as will the YouTube, as will everything else.
That's why there's been, because there wasn't really any explanation ever, but that's why there's been such a gap on YouTube and then a random jam video that Travis...
It's because we've known something was probably happening and we've been planning, but we haven't wanted to just put random stuff up.
We needed some time to think, mostly sustainably, because we are the ones who are in this room right now, the ones who make the content. So it's like, how can we do this every week? And around what we do. Yeah. So fucking happy that we're figuring that out.
But yes, exciting times ahead.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, if you're listening to this like immediately when it's come out, thank you for being a mega fan.
Mm-hmm.
Full shorts come out. By the way, they're called full shorts. Brandon actually commented on the Instagram because Miriam did winter shorts because they release shorts in the winter, and it's autumn right now. So we were like, fuck it, we'll call them full shorts as a little reference.
Nice.
But they come out tonight at 6. Hopefully, if you're listening to this in a week's time, there's still some in stock, but there might not be.
Mm-hmm.
New collection on the way. Prod me as a discount code.
Mm-hmm.
And anything else?
Pray for me and Max, because we're editing something quite big that we've never edited before.
Yeah, basically these guys are taking on a project that is sort of bigger and more complex than they've ever done with regards to editing.
It's not a soul destroyer though, but it's
not a soul destroyer. I've taken all hands off because of Daisy and everything else, and I'm just saying, have at it.
It's going to be good, but given what I've heard from like the breach, the backlash, it's obviously scared me a tiny bit. So yeah,
go easy on us,
please.
Yeah,
but it's on its way. We're working hard, and hopefully it's out before Christmas, but we don't know.
That's the aim. That's the aim. All right, love you lots.
Bye.